Hey guys, welcome to Time Out with Trinitee. We all have such busy lives and hectic schedules, so I really appreciate you guys taking a little time out to hang out with me. We're going to be talking all things love, laugh, and everything in between, so let's get into it. So today, we're going to be talking about whether or not guys and girls can just be platonic friends. Automatically, my answer is yes, but there's a little bit more that goes into it than just a flat out yes. Okay. The first thing that we need to consider are hardcore boundaries. Okay. And now I have a lot of guy friends that I love and you guys know who you are. And so I have a little bit of experience in this guy girl platonic friendship department. So one of the boundaries that I always put in place is I always ask about their love lives, who they're dating, who they want to date, celebrity crushes, everything. Because even though we both know that this is platonic, I feel like it helps put that buffer in for both parties to just remind each other that as great as I am not your bride. Okay? So I'm asking out of care and out of concern, but as a safety measure, as a little precautionary tale. Another boundary that I think is good is not too much touching. Now, hear me out. I am a physical touch person. I'm all about hugs, arm shoves, knee slaps, everything. But when you're dealing with a guy-girl friendship and you're trying to keep it platonic, sometimes it's good to just scale that back a little bit. Because once people start getting a little handsy, I think it's really easy for feelings to just generate out of thin air. So I like to just keep it cute and keep my hands to myself. Another one that my dad always told me about is keep it on the low with the personal subject matters. Once you start bringing out deep heart issues and really personal topics, if they handle it well, it's a slippery slope. So unless you kind of want to explore something more in that friendships, I would always advise to just, put a pause on those really personal heart issues, because it can just get really dicey and lines start to get blurred. And then, you have a lot of extra things to start considering that are just past that clear, clean, and crisp line of friendship that you were enjoying previously. And another big thing that we need to add to that, we just go ahead and bring it out, is late night texting. I know, once the sun goes down, well, in Cali right now, the sun is going down at about 5 o'clock, so maybe we won't mention the sun going down, but late night texting is just a whole nother ball game in itself. And I always heard growing up that, after 10 o'clock, once you start texting after that, those are booty call hours. Now, unless that's what you're trying to get into, I don't. So, that's why I kind of stay away from that. But unless that's what you're trying to get into, apparently the perception on the street is 10 p.m. and after our booty call hours. So keep that in mind. Now, it always gets a little bit different whether or not you or your friend have a boyfriend or girlfriend. But at first, let's just talk about what it looks like, what those kind of dynamics are, if it's just two platonic friends trying to navigate what it looks like to text at night. Now, I think it depends on the subject matter. Personally, I have a little bit of a bird brain sometimes. So every once in a while, I will text my guy best friend something a little bit late at night because I'll forget it. But it'll be something so silly like reality TV show news, a meme, something from the shopping website, something super silly and lighthearted that's not really that serious. But I also deal with people in different time zones. Now you got to think about these things, all these extra dynamics. Now, granted, it could be a reasonable time where I am, but if I'm texting this guy and we're just friends now, it could be midnight where they are or even later. Now I have to think about this. Is this text that serious, even though we're friends, that it's worth sending and them looking at it at midnight or 1 o'clock? Usually the answer is no. So what I will do is I will schedule the text message when I'm thinking about it and just have it send out at what I deem is an appropriate time. That's kind of a little bit of a cheat sheet. If you want to text, but you're not sure whether you should or whether you shouldn't, just schedule it so that way you won't forget, but also you don't have to worry about that text getting misconstrued because of the hour that it's coming in. But if that friend of yours has a significant other, hard no. No late night texting. Because I'm telling you, if I'm sitting up with my man and he's over here texting some girl at 10 o'clock at night and it's nothing life threatening, nobody died or she's not in a car accident or something, I would be pissed off. Okay? So out of just respect for your friend and out of respect for their boyfriend or girlfriend, let's just put a cap on the late night texting. Like I said, unless it's something dire or extremely time sensitive, because it's not that serious. It's just common courtesy, because nighttime is for the lovers and for the Lord. The booze and the bays, if you got one. If not, go to sleep. You need to be up that time of night anyways. But if they do have a significant other, it really just starts to get so much more complicated. And if you're confused, if you're unsure about whether you should send a text late at night, if it's really just unsettling your spirit, I would say just don't do it. It's usually not that deep. Keep it in your drafts, schedule a text message, whatever, so you don't forget it, but you can just kind of excuse that extra confusion. Now, there's other things to think about that make it even more complex, like if your friend works on the night shift, is this the only time of day that you can talk to them? All that extra stuff that honestly takes away the fun of just texting your friend. So I will say my advice on texting late at night is just do what's best for you and your friend. You know the dynamics more than me. If you guys are just friends, who has a boyfriend, who has a girlfriend, if you're trying to be more than friends, whatever. So do what is best for you and for your friend, and just keep things in mind. Don't be too rigid, but keep the rules of the game in mind. Because one time I was dealing with this guy. We were business partners and he needed to FaceTime me at 10 o'clock at night, my time. Now, his time, it was midnight. On my time, it was right before the booty call hours. And because it was important, it was something that we needed to turn around time sensitive. Neither of us had boyfriends or girlfriends, so we weren't having to be concerned about that. I took the call, handled the business, and got off the phone because it was still late at night. So just do what's best for you, and just now you know a little bit more of some of those dynamics that are at play, so you can kind of keep those in mind and see what's going on. But like I said, if there is a significant other, just don't text, don't ruffle the feathers, because the last thing you want to do is become enemy number one for the boyfriend or the girlfriend. But I think it's worth discussing. Can you keep close opposite gender friends if you're in a relationship? I think yes, but also not just a flat yes, okay? There are some things that need to be considered. For me, I love my guy friends like brothers, and some of us, we have been friends for so many years, and it's strictly platonic. There's never been any whisper, a trace, or anything of any type of romantic feelings like that. And so if you are experiencing a similar situation, I feel like it would just be so sad to just have to let go of those friendships that you've had if it's strictly platonic just because you're getting into a relationship. With that being said, there are some adjustments that might need to be made just out of respect for who you're dating. So if you're talking to a platonic friend and you guys are talking every day, all day, well, maybe you scale that back a bit to a few times a week. Just so that way your boyfriend or your girlfriend doesn't feel like they're competing against your friend. So that way they don't feel like they need to advise you to get rid of that friend because you don't have time for the person that you're dating. So not even get to that point, you can just internally make the adjustment that needs to be made with that platonic friend so that way you can keep the friend. Now, my mom has some really good guy friends. Now, one of them, they've been friends for over 40 years. Now, it would be such a shame to just let that friendship go away down the drain. So what my mom did is she always introduced her guy friends to my dad. And so when she presented them to each other, she never presented them as like, one has more seniority over the other one because the friend has been there longer or anything like that. She introduced them as, hey, you guys can be potential friends. Both of you guys care about me and have my best interest in mind. So let's make sure that everybody is on the same page. Friend, you in the friend spot, and man, hey, you in the man spot. And so what my mom also did to kind of help usher this process along is that when her guy friends started dating and when they got married, they would all go on double dates and couples trips and couples activities. So that was one way to also reinforce, hey, we're keeping our friendship, but we're also respecting who we're married to, who we're dating, so that way nobody feels like they're in competition. Because the minute you introduce your man or your woman and your friends as they're equal, they are both kind of competing for that same space in your heart, that's when you start setting the ground for potential jealousy that doesn't even have to happen. Everybody can get along because at the end of the day, they all care about you. Hopefully, they all have the best interest in mind for you. Again, hopefully. So ideally, it should not be any problems. Now, that's if you have a platonic friend. Now, if you have a friend where there has been some romantic history, that's a little bit different. That's not so cut and dry. The first thing out the gate, I would say, is let your boyfriend or your girlfriend know what the history is. Because if there's a situation where you have this friend and you guys used to date, but you guys like totally put the lid on romantic feelings, like it's nothing there anymore, zero sparks, then, loose friend. I wouldn't say allow that person to be your best friend because that's weird. That's like talking to an ex while you're dating somebody new. And if the shoe was on the other foot, I can assume that you would be like, no, cut that off. So I would just say if, you're dealing with a friend where it used to be some type of romance, arm's length is good. Just happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. But you also have to be able to let your family know, okay, yes, me and this person are friends. We used to date. We're not dating anymore. I have a new guy or new girl that I'm dating. Let them know so they can stop inviting the friend and the ex-man or the ex-girl to the cookouts and the family functions. That's just weird because I have a family member that they're still very close with their daughter's ex-boyfriend. And he's like 2 exes ago. So he real ex. And I'm always saying, hey, I know you like the boy. You like the boy for your daughter. Obviously, your daughter didn't like the boy. You can't marry the boy. So let the boy go. That's weird. Keeping them close, but not close enough. That's weird. And that leaves space for the new person that's being brought in that you're dating to just feel uncomfortable and possibly disrespected, and that's just weird. But honesty is the best policy for situations like these. Whether it's a friend where there's no romance, a friend with a little bit of romance or had been romance, you have to let the person you're dating know, because once you start telling lies, okay, once you start keeping secrets, that's when stuff starts going downhill. And that's when you'll start getting FaceTimes from people named Pizza Hut in your phone. Okay? And that is not what you want. Not a great way to start any type of relationship that you want to go the distance. And it's unnecessary. You can tell the truth from the jump. So that way, your new boyfriend or your new girlfriend, if they see that friend that used to date you or used to like you, they'll be able to keep a little eye out in case they try to make a ploy to get their girl back. So honesty is the way to go when you're dealing with that type of situation. But in general, really, guys, if you are in a healthy relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, I really don't think with the platonic friendship that they would want to take that away from you. If you have been with this friend for all of these years and they've been supporting you and rooting you on and just making your life be for the better, I don't think they would want to take that away from you. So keep that in mind and tell the truth. Don't start lying, y'all. It's not worth it. I'm trying to tell you. And I would just add that if you have a friend and it is causing serious problems in your relationship or even minor problems, if that's like a friction point, hey, just consider it that maybe you might need to really distance that friendship relationship that's causing these problems in your romantic relationships. Or, I mean, I don't know. If you really love your friend, maybe you'll leave the man for the friend. I don't know. That's up to you, but just consider it because you don't want anyone to be causing external problems in your relationship, especially if you're really in love and you think this is the one, okay? So that's kind of dating and really more friendships, right? What does it look like to have girl and guy friendships? But I'm going to tell you a little story time about what happened to me when I had a friend who was like secretly, I think, wanting a little bit more than just regular friendship. Here's just some general tips for you guys out there. This is how you can know if you have a friend that's kind of trying to move up levels to special friend, trying to up the ante a little bit. I would look at him and he would hit me with those big old love eyes. Like, I can't even recreate the face. But, you know, we all watch romance movies. We're all on the internet. We know the look. Okay, those deep, longing looks that's like, are you trying to like me right now? I mean, that was honestly my reaction because I was just so taken aback. But you can also tell, which I noticed, if your friend is trying to move up spots, if they hit you with this right here. This is the line where you can tell. Well, if I was your boyfriend, I would do this. What? Hello? That is a gateway for I should be the boyfriend. Who you're with right now is not it. Or if you're single, hey, this is me dry auditioning for the spot. But because I was not really down with the cause for my friend trying to move up spots, I actually had to do the unthinkable. I had to friend zone him, y'all. So let's talk a little bit about friend zoning. Now, I had actually been on both ends of the stick. I have been friend zoned. Can y'all believe that? Me either. Anyways, and I have been the friend zoner. So let's talk about when I actually did the friend zoning. So this friend I was just talking about, now we were friends in the context of school. We were just fine friends. He was cool. You know, it was chill. But this was also during COVID. And so everybody's minds were just every single shade of messed up. So maybe it was the vaccine that got to his head. I don't know. That's what I think I'm going to chalk it up to because it was so out of the blue and so crazy to me. So these were the Snapchat days. I don't even use Snapchat anymore, but maybe you guys remember what it was like kind of with those disappearing messages and everything. But I caught it. I caught that text before it disappeared. He said, hey, can I date you? What? It was out of the blue. It was no segue. We had never talked about anything romantic at all. And also, you know, this was during the time when I was, you know, underneath the prescribed age of my parents to be dating. So I was able to use that as an excuse. You know, I just said, no, you know, my parents won't allow me to date right now. I said, but thank you so much for the offer. Right? Program. Wrong player. Okay, I love the confidence. That's the way to go. Guys, if you're, you know, trying to date somebody, just ask flat out. But that was just not the one for me. I mean, we got along in the terms of friendship, but our life plans, interests, goals were just totally opposite. And no, before y'all even ask, not in the opposites attract. In the opposite go the other way. Okay? And that's what I did. I went the other way. So how I went about the friend zoning, in case you guys need to execute a friend zoning, was I just moved from, you know, friendship level of talking to cordial acquaintance level of talking. So less frequent as the days went on. And then I just bounced. Okay, y'all. I hate to admit it. I just clean cut the communication off, deleted Snapchat from my phone. I just went the whole way because I was like, I got to get out of here. Okay, so that's how I friend zone. I don't like to friend zone, but I also don't like leading people on. So guys, it's better to just cut it off instead of just dragging somebody along, making them think they have hope when you know good and well there is none. Okay, so maybe if you need to friend zone, you can kind of use my friend zoning program. But also, I have been on the other side of friend zoning, which was arguably not so much fun. Okay, and so the guy that I was talking to, he wasn't even super clear on maybe we should just be friends. Like, right when I was at that spot where I was like, ooh, you're kind of hot. This could actually be something. Before I could even get there all the way, this is what he hit me with. Oh, aren't we just such good friends? Well, dang, I guess we are, because you can't be my man now. I mean, he just straight shut me down, and I was really, honestly, quite flabbergasted, because I couldn't even get to that point of, oh, we will be so cute together. Couldn't even do the imaginary pictures of us together on the beach in my head, because he shut me down just that quick. But there was this other time where I got friend zoned. I was out with this friend. I was out with this guy friend, and it was around my birthday. And he showed up with a big bouquet of pink and red roses and a gift and balloons. And I was like, oh, what is this about to play? Because you showing up like, hey, I'm here to audition for the spot of leading man in your life. I was about to accept him as leading man in my life because he really showed out. He really shocked me, honestly. But about 3 weeks after that, he totally ghosted me. So I guess that's friend zoning for you. But we're going to talk about ghosting a little bit later on. So put a pin in that one. But just remember, whether you're getting friend zoned, if you're friend zoning, once you hook up with somebody, it's over. It's no point of return. Whether you make it to first base, second base, half a base, thinking about a base, once you do it, you cannot go back, and it's not worth it, y'all. So really think about what you're doing while y'all out here moving around with y'all bodies and stuff. When you have a friend and you cross that line, it really is the point of no return. And speaking about out here moving around with y'all bodies and stuff, when you're out with your guy friends, this is what I do. I really cover up. Okay, none of my guy friends have even seen me in a swimsuit. I do not want y'all looking at my body, getting any ideas and trying to move from that friendship spot to something a little bit more. Because I don't like y'all like that. I like y'all for my friends, okay? So even if they did have to see me in a swimsuit, it would be something super covered up, probably one of those surf long pants surf suits, just out of precaution because, people start getting ideas, okay? Just, covered up. I don't want to leave any kind of space. And that's just me. So, in general, yes, it's possible. I think it is so possible for guys and girls to be simply platonic friends. But I do think it is getting very rare, because people are getting all types of mixed signals from each other. Boyfriends and girlfriends of people that have platonic friendships are getting insecure and all that type of junk. But it is so possible, and it is so worth it, you guys. I mean, I am just so much for the better for all of my amazing guy friends out there in my life. And if you guys have some, I know you guys know what I'm talking about, because everybody needs a good homeboy and a good homegirl in their life, okay? Somebody to keep you guys in check and vice versa, in line. And, for me as a girl, I get to see, okay, what's going on out there in those dating streets out there with the guys. Okay, so I get a little inside scoop, some intel. So that is definitely another bonus of having simply platonic friends. And it's fun. I get to play wing woman for so many people, and I'm always trying to hook them up, y'all. I mean, always trying to get them married off, get them a girlfriend, something. So it's super fun too. And I think that if it's possible, if it's not gonna cause any ruffles in any of your relationships, or if you're single, open yourself up to truly good platonic friendships because it is really such a blessing. So yes, platonic friends exist. They can go the distance. There's tons of things to consider, but I think it is totally worth it. Okay, so that's my spiel for today. And now, if you guys remember, I sent out a worldwide call for questions from you guys from pretty much everywhere. And you guys have been sending in some absolutely amazing questions. So it's time for me to answer a few of them. So let's get into it. This is Between You and Teeth. Let's go. Question 1. Okay, now this question comes from Sarah A. Hey, Sarah. So this is your question. Hey there. I know you're an actress and I'm also pursuing acting, but I've been so discouraged lately. I haven't been an actress for long, but I've always had this spark and I truly believe I can succeed in this. I have booked some work, but I constantly feel robbed of opportunities that will help my career. Sometimes I think to myself that in the industry, there has to be some sort of unfair advantage given to certain actors and just think negatively. And it's been hurting me mentally and I've prayed about it, but things still feel off. Any advice? Wow, that is such a great question, Sarah. Thank you for asking me and just feeling comfortable bringing such a serious issue to the forums. I appreciate that. So yes, I do have some advice for you. There are always going to be some valleys and some low points that you might come across. But the most important thing is what you're doing. You have not given up. The fact that you're still able to realize that you still have this spark for acting and for the arts, even through the difficulties that you've experienced, is really important. For me, when I've come across difficult areas, what I like to do is I like to just sit and think. This is my big question that I ask, that I would ask you as well. Could I live without this? My answer is always no. And I think that's going to be your answer too. And when you realize that, okay, this is the purpose that God has given me. If you're following after him and this is the task that he has given you, then keep going. He's going to let us know when he decides that we're ready to know the plan that he has for you in your career. I know that there are some tough spots, believe me, but when you have those days, it's okay to feel those emotions and really realize what's going on with you, but don't sit in them and don't stay in those moments too long because that's when we can go down a rabbit hole and things get a little bit more complicated. But I believe in you and I'm so proud of you for just being able to realize that, okay, this is difficult. This is what I'm going through right now, but I'm not giving up. And I believe that I have a future in this. And that's the most important part at the end of the day, because if you lose sight of your vision, so will anyone else. But as long as you have a chokehold grip on what you think is your future and what you believe is your purpose in life, then there is nothing that can stop you. You always get to remember that you can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens you. And so this is one of those things that you can do when you're strengthened in Christ. So be so encouraged and just realize that anything that is meant for you, anything that God has purposed for you, it will find you one way or another. So I believe in you and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. Okay, next question. This is from Lucy G. Hey, Lucy. Any advice for a 21-year-old who feels behind in life? That's such a great question. Yes, don't feel behind. Oh my gosh, I will be 20 in a few months. So we're right there together. You know what? Life is just really getting started for us. We have so much life ahead of us. And I would just encourage you to realize that even though it might feel like it, we are not up against the clock. There's no need to rush and there's no need to compare your journey to someone else's. Anything that you've experienced or feel like you need to experience, you will do it when God deems that the time is right and necessary for you. So I would just encourage you to enjoy this time in your life. You're 21, travel, see the world, explore what you want to do and career opportunities or whatever that might be. But just realize that, oh my gosh, the world is your big, wide open oyster, and there's nothing that you can't do or anything that is truly in your way. So thank you for your question. Okay. This question is from Prince J. Hey, Prince. Can we get a full version of Missing You in Mississippi? I cried for 3 days straight. Thank you for your question. I also very much love that song. Jamal Roberts did his big one with that one. Also from Mississippi. That's my Mississippi brother. So Yes. Why not give the people a little bit more? This one is for you, Prince. Traded in my lazy days I used to spend down by the river. Oh, how I miss it. Smiling like this is the life, but deep down I'm just pretending. Oh, I'll be missing you in Mississippi. And it don't feel the same without you with me. All alone in these big cities, all those skyline views, they don't look like you. Late nights on the road, but you're always home. I need you to know, oh, I'll be missing you in Mississippi. I love that song too. Also cried when I first heard that song. So that is it for Between You and T for this episode. And guys, keep the questions coming. I'm going to be answering about 2 or 3 at the end of each episode. And you never know when I'm going to pick your question. And yes, guys, it is actually me reading the questions. So please, no funny business in the messages, y'all. But you guys can send your questions to me via Instagram or TikTok. I'm watching, I'm reading, and looking for the next batch of questions for my episode. This has been so much fun, you guys. But don't forget to subscribe down below so you don't miss the next episode. And follow me on Instagram and socials. I'm sure it's going to be popping up around here somewhere. But this was so much fun. Thank you guys for taking a little bit of time out with me. And I'll see you next time. Oh, and before I go, next week's episode is going to be about ghosting. So guys, as you're sending in your questions, please send me in some of your funny stories about ghosting so we can talk them out together. You guys already know my funny ghosting stories, so don't feel any type of way. And considering this episode was about friendships, opposite gender friendships, I just want to send a shout out to all of my guy friends. You guys know who you are. I love you guys. I cherish our friendships. And this has been great. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.